So you're building an n8n and you just want, like, you see that massive workflow that you just built. Yeah, there are ways to simplify it, and that's just building a wrapper node that just wraps everything inside it. That's what cluster nodes are. So cluster nodes can take your complex system, whatever it is, and then they simplify it with a simple, interface that you can use. Today we're going to be talking about cluster nodes and how you can use them, the cluster nodes that actually exist. And by the end of this, you're going to have quite a good understanding of cluster nodes. Let me introduce myself again. The name is Muzi. I am the Grand Alchemist of the Guild. If you know, you know. My mission is to help 8,000 people just like me start learning automation and actually make their first $1,000 online using AI and automation. And cluster nodes are what we're going to be talking about today. So if you want a sort of good understanding of what cluster nodes are, then I guess the best way to think about them is just your ability to create smarter workflows that do more with less. So workflows have a tendency of just turning into these massive monsters depending on how you're building them. And again, if you're building something like that, it's probably not a good idea. It's always a good idea to separate your workflows into sub workflows that execute sort of these repeatable parts, just to keep things simple and understandable for you or anyone else that's building after you. So keep things simple. Also document things a lot using the it's the only thing you can put on in a canvas that isn't a that isn't a node, and it is the, let me just, this guy over here. It is a sticky note. That's it. Oh my god, sticky note. It's kind of funny how that didn't stick in my head, but I mean, okay, let's keep going. So, what are cluster nodes? So, cluster nodes are groups. So, they're groups of workflows. It's just a way of grouping workflows visually and logically so that you can create like a modular system that is reusable again and again. There is something called a sub workflow. So, sub workflows are not cluster nodes. Sub workflows are just workflows that do certain things. And again, sub workflows are also modular and reusable. We spoke about it before, and I showed you how to actually like set it up in a previous video, by the way. You could just go through, like, just rewatch the entire playlist. You'll probably find one where we actually go through how to set up and think about that. But yeah, sub workflows are not cluster nodes. Cluster nodes actually do really complex things because you can set them up by connecting different ideas, different tools. Um, and again, we'll go through what that means. But yeah, they're compact and organized workflows, and they are like mini automation flows. Basically, it's a mini automation flow all by itself. Um, they're separated between two parts. So one is the root node, and one is the subnode. The root nodes are the leaders of each cluster, so they initiate and control the processes within the cluster. So how they work is they receive input from the front of the branch, um, and again, they have their own internal logic, remember, but they also connect to tools and systems at the bottom. So they receive input, they manage any process inside it um, by connecting to any tools, and then they return the data to the main workflow. Let me just show you real quick what I'm talking about. So yeah, I could just add a note here. We're gonna add a node, and the name of the node, obviously, it's something you've heard like way too many times. It's the agent node. Let me change this so that we don't connect it to a chat trigger, but we're just gonna define it below, and we're just gonna say you are, you know, a very cool, very chilled guy. Again, meta reference. Oh my god. So yeah, okay. This is the AI agent node. You can connect it to certain tools. This is the input to it, so you'd probably be connecting this to some kind of chat or some kind of. You could connect this to Telegram, connect this to WhatsApp, Twilio, anything. You have a chat model here, so this is where you'd connect your agent. I mean your model, which is understanding whatever's coming through. This could be Gemini, this could be OpenAI GPT models, anything. You have your memory here, which may or may not be used again. If you're doing some kind of chat where you have to remember what was said previously, then you're probably using memory. This could be Supabase, this could be Postgres. Just like there's a bunch of tools out there, and like learning not only what the tools are or how to use them, but when to use them is so crucial because there's so many tools. Like as I said, you just want to learn when to use the tool, just so that you can get good at it. So there are also these tools, and again, this could be anything. You could click here, but you just to see sort of what you could do. You could access vector stores. You could access sort of like app specific tools. So there are tools for the agile. There's tools for Airtable. Um, and one thing you could do here is you could create your own workflows and then set them up as tools for this agent. So that's why you have to understand how these cluster sort of nodes, they work as mini workflows, because inside here you probably have different LLMs chained together to understand what to do and when to do it based on whatever sort of thing, whatever input you gave it. So whatever this text is, right? You want to sort of have it give you the right output every single time, and all of that is going on in a place that you can't see, but that's just a mini workflow in and of itself, and it's very powerful. So yeah, that is the root node basically. It receives input, it does its processes by connecting with whatever tools it connects to, and then it returns the data to the main workflow. Now, subnodes are what I just spoke to you about and what I showed you. It's the supporting class within the clusters, so they're controlled by the root nodes. And the root node, what it does is, depending on whatever input you give it, it executes the task in a sequence. And this keeps your workflows tidy, and it helps you collapse larger workflows into smaller manageable modules. Um, I don't, okay, let me set this up actually. I want to add a chat trigger here. Um, Make chat publicly available. No, it's unnecessary. But now we have an open chat button here, so we can do that. I'll add a chat. I'll add a model here. It's going to be Gemini. I really like Gemini, especially how smart it's getting recently. We won't use 1.0. We'll use 2.0 Flash, um, because it's like one of the smartest ones that has the highest context window as well. If you don't know what a context window is, it's the amount of data that you can pass to it. Most models have like a context window of like a few 100,000. Gemini is like in the millions, meaning that you can pass a whole book to Gemini and have it analyze the content, which is fucking insane. There's okay, we'll use window buffer memory, which is basically telling it to instantiate some kind of like a small little memory to keep the chat. And again, we can tell it, yeah, context window length is 5, meaning that it'll remember the past 5 messages and nothing beyond that. So very useful. Here, we're not going to connect to any tools just for this, but we could be connecting to tools. Remember, when we click on this, it gives us a bunch of things. But yeah, we're not going to be connecting to tools, but we could. I mean, we could be connecting to Airtable. Like you could tell this agent to update a row in your, no, we don't call them rows, to update a field. So to create a new entry in your Airtable, and then to update a field in that Airtable, maybe like add information of like who you are. Um, let's add this calculator. It seems like a very cool tool. We're gonna have this agent sort of do some maths here, because why not? So um, now that we've you, what you have to remember, this is the input to the root node. The root node is going to send out an output here. These are the subnodes that we're connecting so that they could do really interesting things. Let's open the chat interface here, and we're just going to say hey, bro, I can't do maths. Genuinely can't do maths, somehow. Um, if um, what is, let's do something simple. No logarithms, okay? Just multiplication. What is 23 times 42? I could probably figure that out, but so what you're going to see here is really interesting. So it went in here, and then it went into the memory twice, and then it came up with an output here. How can I help you today? Oh, yeah, I want you. Okay, understand something as well. It defend like how you set up an agent node is very important. So here I'm going to tell it that you are an agent that does maths calculations, and your personality is one of a strict teacher who berates his students. Alright, this is very simple. You will get input from a student, and you have to berate the student gently every single time. We're not going to require a specific output format here because anyway we're doing chat, so chat is just text, just chat input, very simple. Um, we're going to say that this is the chat, so here is the input, and then we're going to drag this in. What we're doing is we're mapping the data of the input that's coming in. So every time it's running, it's going to run with this implication. So the only reason that it failed to run previously, or failed to give us something useful, was because we didn't set that up properly. So now when we do this again, hey, tell me what 23 times 42 is. And somehow we can't spell. But as you can see here, finally, did you actually use your brain for once, or did you just get lucky? 966, yes. But don't think this means you're suddenly a math whiz. Try something harder and don't disappoint me. So as you can tell, it did the maths, very cool. And you can see here how it executed like 2 times for the model, meaning it went to the model figured out what to do next, and then it went through and it did some calculations with the calculator, came back to the model, and then it went out. And of course, these 2 items are when it was storing the input, and then it stored the message that it came up with. So very useful. And now, since the context here, the context window is 5, we can prompt it 5 times before it starts forgetting what came before. So anything that came before will just get popped out of that array of results, which is very useful to like understand. So yeah, this was a very basic overview of cluster nodes. Cluster nodes basically they just modularize a bunch of logic, and you can think about doing some really cool things here. So if you're just using some cluster node for other things, right? You can have an agent that does your emails for you. So every kind of email operation you can think of, you can have something that does that. But it doesn't do your like you don't have to do your emails for you. It does the emails for you in your voice. All you have to do is just text it with WhatsApp or with Telegram or something. I've done this before. It's relatively easy to set up. All you do is just connect the emails as tools, and then have it just like anytime you want to send an email or you want to update your calendar, you have to have those tools there. And again, how like how you tell it to do its job is very important. We might do a section on agents in the future. Who knows? But yeah, there's like a bunch of ways that you could do sort of business, like a bunch of ways that businesses would find this useful. Let's wrap up. So, cluster nodes build smarter systems that work as a team while keeping things simple for you, right? And they effectively just help you do really cool things without having to set up whole systems or like multiple workflows that do them. I'm sure you're ready to dive deeper. I know I am. So next we're going to be looking at credentials. I might be doing something insane where I set up every single credential in n8n. I mean, not everyone, but like the most useful ones, because they're very important. Like we're going to be thinking about how you can start setting them up and how you should be using the documentation to set them up. So yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be seeing you there So see you there.